All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about Drag Race. Who, child, y'all gave me my life with this last episode. When I tell you, I was literally eating. Now, you want to talk about Miss Mama's up here talking about Piggy this and Piggy that? Child, I was eating of this episode, especially the beef that went on between Miss On Your Nerve and Lexi. But we're going to get into that. So, yeah, let's talk about this. Let's get sickening ball. So the remaining queens made runway looks from Sea Trash, for those of you that were wondering what the whole Let's Get Sea Sickening ball is, and another sewing challenge, which we've all been saying on this show, if I'm not mistaken, that we want to see more challenges in regards of sewing challenges, even though some of the girls say they're not good at it. But here's the thing, the show been on for 17 seasons. Y'all should know how to use a sewing machine. It's expected. And I love how Rue was like, y'all excited for another sewing challenge? And then we had Hunter Schafer up in there, which I was living for her. And I love the fact of seeing Lexi so excited because she was just like, as a trans woman, and also seeing this trans actor who has been a model, does a lot of film and TV. Sidebar, I've heard that the new season of Euphoria is finally shooting. So it's great to hear that they're back up and running again. But I don't know what her level, how much she's going to be part of the show. But anyway. So as y'all remember, nobody went home last week after the RDR Live Challenge, certified some as comedy queens and others as live comedy flops. Now, Susie, too, as one of my favorites, took the top spot after she brought her best of the best to the Weekend Update character, but Lydia B. Collins, or as we like to call her, Lydia Butthole Collins, and Ariete both found themselves in the bottom. Now, after Ariette's second lip sync in a row, she was saved when the lever she chose sent Michelle right into the Dunk tank. But then, of course, everybody was like, okay, this is so rigomorous because she picked the one. And remember, during the first episode of the first elimination episode, when, oh my God, when Sadness, who was eliminated in tonight's episode, picked the 7, and they were saying, oh, 1 and 7, 17. And then Ariete goes and says, 17 is my lucky number because I have that tattooed on my neck. Coincidence? Coinky dink? I don't know. Smells a little rigomorous to me, but that's just me. Drop it in the comments if y'all feel it was a little rigomorous with that whole dunk tank too, but I just really feel like, okay, production, I see you. So, yeah, so when she pulled the lever, it sent Michelle into the Badunk tank. The week the queens take on another sewing challenge, and Ruth throws a ball. So let's get into what had happened. So this week's episode, started in the workroom following last week's lip sync as they always do, because they always have to have we gotta go moments after the elimination. We get to see the queens as they reflect on that elimination and all the drama that happened with that or lack thereof, because there was no elimination. And Ariete was so excited the fact that she got to stay in the competition, and a couple of other friends was excited that she wasn't getting sent home too, although Lydia was bummed because she was like, I ate that lip sync and I was ready to send her home, but it is what it is. And then we got Corey again saying that it would have felt better for the competition for somebody to go home, which has been her ongoing thing. I'm like, sis, be careful what you say, because remember, you could be that girl that gets sent home. Now, the queens, congratulated Susie on her second win. Carried on from last week's Untucked, some of the other queens felt Susie's looks aren't enough to get her to the end. With all the levers pulled, there was no more chances to stay in the competition. So I'm glad that this whole Badunk tank thing is done. Now we can start chopping these broads and sending their ass home. So it ain't no half stepping. A lot of y'all got to step y'all pussy up, which is why I'm excited, or maybe a little nervous, that Snatch Game is next week. So it'd be interesting to see who these girls gonna be playing. But let's not jump the boom boom gun yet. Shout out to, Gia Gun for the boom boom gun term. But, we'll talk about Snatch Game when we get around to that, which will be next week's episode. But the one thing I keep saying that people need to understand about Drag Race, y'all need to stop playing in my sister Susie Toots' face. She's a talent. She's a force to be reckoned with. It's not always all about looks, being fierce, and looking the best. If that was the case, yeah, girls like Ariete would win the show every week. But the looks is not only the only factor that comes into doing Drag Race. The show is all about y'all stepping y'all concept, your charisma, your uniqueness, nerve, and talent. That's what y'all supposed to be highlighting. It's not a fashion show. The show is not called Look Queen. It's called RuPaul's Drag Race. And I keep saying that. So for a lot of y'all up in here cracking jokes and trying to talk about people's drag, it's like, Arietta, yes, you are a fierce queen when it comes to the looks. But one of the things I did say about linebacker Barbie, aka Corey King, I know your big, broad shouldered having ass is not up here trying to read girls down to the floor in regards to their looks. Your looks be looking cheap and pedestrian, like you bought all them clothes off the rack of Goodwill, and don't even get me started on them synthetic looking Barbie wigs you be wearing. Like, I really feel like Plain Jane sabotage yourself intentionally coming on this damn show. So if you're going to come in here and try to read down the girls, at least have your shit together before you do that. So I didn't like the fact that they was picking on Susie as much. But I'm glad that she had a thick skin and she was like, you know what, y'all can't take her. And I don't think y'all can. Y'all can't take my girl. But I did find it funny during the mini challenge when they did the glory hole drag situation where they had to put on them ugly ass pussycat wigs and knee pads. And then Norvina, who was the president of Anastasia Beverly Hills, came in and they had to have like two teams. So they had RuPaul had his team where it was like the orange knee pads, and then you had Anastasia. And they basically, what you had to do was transport tubes of Anastasia lipsticks from one side of the room into the respective glory holes. And you had queens on the other side that had to put their mouth to the glory hole, grab the lipstick, and put it into the thing. And whoever team wins, they won little cointadas. I think they won $500. So the orange team, which was Rue's team, actually wound up winning. And then after that, he brought up the Let's Get Sea-Sickening Ball Challenge, which the first category was Bathing Beauties, second was Sea Creature Couture, and the third is Sea-Sickening Eleganza, where they basically have to upcycle common sea trash into sickening looks to walk the runway. So then, as they go in scabbards and materials, Lexi upcycles off her look. So she was like, this is going to be a great challenge, although the execution on her outfit, I was like, ma'am, if this is what you upcycle, like this would have been a challenge I would have loved to have seen Lucky Stars flourish in. I really think that if we would have seen her do that she would have ate, because she does unconventional drag. So I would have loved to have seen her excel in that. But Miss Mama, she was the pork chop of the season. So if she does come back for another season, or possibly next All Stars 10, or maybe even All Stars 11. I don't think she's on All Stars 10, but All Stars 11, if she was to come back for that, I would love to see them do an unconventional challenge, and then she'd come back and try out again. Or if they decide to do a pork chop season, which we're still hoping that Drag Race does. So the funny thing was that you had Sam and Lexi both grab tarps, which basically had Lexi worried that they were going to make the same garment. And Sam was like, don't worry, sis. Like, we're not doing the same thing. Like, I got a whole nother idea in my head. We're not doing, just because I grabbed tarp does not necessarily mean that we're going to be making the same damn outfit. And I feel like Sam did way more with her look, and we'll get into that, than Lexi did. But of course, we can't jump the gun yet because there was some drama that happened with Lexi's outfit. So, then Rue comes into the room and gathers the queens, talk in small groups to get some ideas about where they're going with their looks. There was a lot of stuff that was going on. Ideas were shared, shade was thrown. Rue gave advice. One of the particular things that I did cackle at was that Arietta tried to throw a little shade, and then she tried to be all humble when she was just like, when Rue was basically saying to her, so you were upset over the fact that, you was in the bottom, oh no, yes and no. She said, no, bitch, you were. I just love how Rue was just like, I'm gonna call your ass out, because that was a fact. You were pissed off. You basically let it be known. And I'm sure like Rue doesn't know what's going on because he's not in the room when they're filming Untucked. They're on the stage deliberating or whatever. So, production basically chirped in his ear and gave him an earful on how Arietta was acting, especially being in the bottom. So, of course, she had to have that little, ammunition. So that way, when she came up to asking her in the room, That was the question she had to ask. But child, let's get into the juicy part. So, um, so basically, Acacia was basically saying that she was feeling less nervous, seeing everybody's looks, was basically calling them ugly. But I was like, Acacia, I love you, but your outfit was not giving. So I was like, especially when I feel like you had a little too much I don't know what that was on your breast. Like you looked like your outfit. It was a lot going on. Like when I looked at her outfit, I was like, sis, you need to edit. Don't blame it on the edit. You just need to edit. And I don't know what the hell this chick was wearing. I told you the synthetic wigs, the boots is all wrong. If we talking about Corey, and this bathing suit is giving Katy Perry. Like you took one of her beach balls from California Girls and made it into a damn bathing suit. That's supposed to be revolutionary? Well, whatever. So yeah, she was out here trying to read people's clothes and stuff. But the real gag happened when Lexi came and her outfit, her tarp got damaged because somebody apparently sprayed brown spray, like paint, on her tarp. And you want to know something? Shout out to production, but y'all make stuff so predictable. I knew that Anya Nerve did it before she came out and admitted it because if you notice, the camera kept panning to her and the look on her face, I'm like, girl, you giving yourself away. I knew it was you. So, and then you had Arietti outside, so I knew maybe she had something to do with it too. But I will give her this. I at least applaud Arietti for being like, oh, I didn't know the thing was there. Stuff happened. I apologize. I didn't mean for this to happen. Anya should have took it upon herself to really be like, you know what, sis, let's talk. Let's pull to the side. I got to tell you what happened. I apologize. This is not something I meant. This shouldn't have been like, and even when she was just like, oh, well, this is not the right time. She's heated. I'm like, she ain't going to calm down until she found out who did what. I'd have just been like, you know what, let me bite this bullet. Let me go and apologize. Let me not swallow this. Let me not keep it a secret. You're only going to make it worse by keeping it quiet. But then Lexi came outside. She saw the brown look that was off in the corner, matched it with the paint, put two and two together, figured out who it was, came in, gave that look to her. I was like, bitch. When she came over and gave her that look like that mean mug that she gave that glance, I was like, ooh, that's giving very much how I get when I get pissed. But I'm ready to pop off, but I'm really trying to keep my composure and be very Christian like. That's basically what Lexi was given before she popped off. And then when Anya decided to choose the time, that's when she blew the gasket. They was going at each other. And child, I was sitting there eating my imaginary popcorn while gagging on the argument that was going on with them. And it was pissing me off because I was like, ooh, this is some good juice. The fact of the matter that we're looking at Corey up in there cackling like a damn seal, like the shit is funny, it wasn't cute. I didn't like how she was coming across like this is some big entertainment thing for her. Like, yeah, for us watching at home on TV, they can't hear us. So us sitting up in there gagging at all the drama that's going on, that's one thing. But you sitting up in there cackling like the shit is funny, that just pissed me off with her. So I didn't like that. But um I like that the next day, when it was elimination day, that Lexi pulled both to the side and had a chat and apologized and said that she's not going to hate either of them over literal garbage and that they made bygones be bygones. She made it work with what she had and she ended up being safe at the end of the day. So I love the fact that they had their moment, that they was fighting, then they decided to have a kumbaya moment the next day. It's like, give me a moment to cool off. I don't want to sit and hold this grudge, but Anya, and you know I live for you. You are like one of my top girls that making it all the way to the end. Whenever it comes to these fashion challenges, you're not looking too cute because remember, you got into it with um Jewel Sparkles. Apparently being accused of stealing, a piece of stuff for her gown, for your gown, which artist is kept. Anya Nerve definitely turned out the look and surpassed her with the whole look situation. So I was living for that. And she was mad over it. But it's like, bitch, you should have said something. If it was that important for you to keep the peace. And then this day with the spray. So if we have any more fashion challenges moving forward, I'm gonna need you to try to stay out of everybody's way and make sure that you don't get caught up in no more drama. But look, it seemed like for once, especially when season 17 wraps up, that we finally gonna get a reunion that's worth talking about because Last year's reunion, we didn't even get one. I feel like the only time that we got a reunion recap of the season was Bring Back My Girls with T.S. Madison, unless that is the future of the reunions of Drag Race. Or I would say this, I say step down, Rue, if your heart's not into doing the reunions, and let T.S. Madison host the reunions, because she eats when it comes to the whole reunion thing. So now, once we get to the Let's Get See Sickening Ball, the first category was Bathing Beauties. And the queens, strutted in their, cutest, coolest, and most sickening bathing suits. The second category, excuse me, they had was Sea Creature Couture, and the queens walk in looks inspired by different sea life. And then the final category, as we all said, was earlier, Sea Sickening Eleganza, which is where we get to see all of the looks that they created out of the trash. And most of the looks are surprisingly good and polished. Following the runway, Ru calls Jules, Lydia, Anya, Susie, Corey, and Lexi forward and tells them they are all safe. But here's the gag that I actually cackled at. First of all, let's leave it on one of my favorite looks of the night and the rightful queen who won, Ariete. All three of her looks, 8 down to the floor. I gagged every time she hit that runway. And like I said before, the thing with Ariete, she eats whenever it comes to the fashion. She is the fashion girl. So nobody's going to take that away from her. And the fact that she definitely steps out of the box when it comes to her looks. I was living for the Avatar Na'vi look, number one. And then she had the little fish look in the middle. And then this ensemble on the third. So it was all like 3 different looks. And she definitely served. I ate her up every single time she walked out on that runway. So I was here for the whole performance. I was here for the whole situation. And yes, she was the rightful winner of the challenge. Now, critiques. Oh, yeah, we forgot to mention Laura Roach. Laura Roach came out and the girls gagged because they was not expecting him to be sitting there. So Ru only told them that, what the hell? Ru only told them that Hunter Schafer was going to be the guest. He didn't mention that Laura was there. And when they came out, they gagged. And I was like, I'm living because I love when Laura is a part of the show. And I feel like when it comes to the fashion challenges, Laura should be there specifically for those challenges. So if they have a lot more fashion challenges on the show, I would rather Laura be there rather than hearing from Ross and hearing from Carson. I just feel like y'all have had y'all run, kind of ease them on out like y'all did Santino. I think they just kicked Santino a hard stop. Just y'all could ease out Ross and the other one and just keep my girl T.S. Madison, whose sidebar I heard was at Roscoe's on Friday. So that episode I think might be up on the YouTube. So I definitely gotta check that one out because she was on, she was at Roscoe's with Batty and Naisha Lopez and all of them. So I got to check that interview out. I know one of my friends was saying he thought she was supposed to be on last week's. It was like, no, that was Susie and Carson Kressley was on last week's. I forget who the other queen is that's on today. But anyway, so the first critique started with Crystal. Michelle basically told her that she's done with Barbie cosplay but liked her fringe reveal. Excuse me. Laura appreciated her McQueen reference and her pufferish look. Hunter basically complimented her handmade look and tells Sam Starr her bathing beauties look was so good. And can we also give a shout out to Hunter? I thought Hunter did a phenomenal job with her critiques and the little funny one-liners that she was coming up with. I was cackling. Normally we don't hear a lot of the queens come out and say stuff, but she delivered on that. And also when she went in during Untucked and she sat down with the girl, she was like, and I felt like that was the most honest I've heard a guest come on there and say. She was like, you know what, even though we don't really know how things are all set up throughout the season, it was fun getting up there to just basically give critiques based off of that one situation of seeing what you girls are bringing without even knowing how the whole season has played out episodes prior. So hearing that made me understand, you don't realize what a lot of these guest judges have to go through trying to understand and say, I guess, the right thing. It's like, don't worry about saying the right thing. Just be yourself. Just get up there and just say what you feel. Whatever the first thing that pops in your head with them girls coming down the runway, just write it down. And that's your opinion. Because the first opinion is always the best one. It's took me a long time to learn that. So now now let's get into Ariete. So basically, Laura told Ariete her bathing beauties look was gorgeous, and Hunter loved her lionfish look. Michelle basically told her that her final look is one of her favorites of the night. Michelle liked how campy Acacia's bathing suit looked, but struggled with the fit. Hunter also gave her some critiques on her second look. Law calls her final look amateur. I do agree with that. The judges think Hormona played it really safe, and all the looks go together. But I'm sorry, I didn't feel like none of the looks went together. I felt like Hormona's looks were messy. Especially that last one when she was trying to have like the poofiness of the dress. I'm like, what the hell? What kind of lump she got up under there? It just didn't. It just looked a mess. Especially that third and final look. It was a disaster. So yeah, her final look definitely needed some work, and that's what Michelle basically told her. And I do feel like Hormona played it safe, according, and especially when you looked at all the other queens who really were stepping out of the box and pushing themselves with the fashion. Hormona's looks look so damn pedestrian. But let's get into Lana Jarrett, because this is what I say about people like Lana Jarrett, who was, I don't know, who was given more delusion, her or Joella. Because when she's sitting over here talking about she's giving fashion, girl, you was giving boy in a wig in that bathing suit. What was that? I mean, yeah, you lotion your body up for the gods, but you were not. I feel like if Lux Nor London is your drag mother, you really need to be doing your mother proud. And I feel like so far your looks have not been really giving what you think. And I always tell these girls, y'all be up in here talking about, no, I don't want to be safe. I'm tired of being safe. I want critiques. Be careful what you wish for. Because that's why I laughed when Rue was like, oh, so you thought you ate with that dress? No, your hem was a mess. And the judges were saying that that's what that was. And you really thought that you really excel with that look. It's funny how people be, and they so caught up in their own delusions that they don't realize um you're not as fierce as you think. So be glad that you're safe. Because if you it's better than being in the bottom. It's better than going being sent home. And lo and behold, Lana ended up in the bottom because her looks were a chop. You came out literally in a bathing suit. And here's another thing too. If y'all doing where's y'all titties? I understand, like, if you skinny and you giving Naomi Campbell body yada yada, but we don't need you looking like a female bodybuilder because you know they got man pecs and all that other stuff, even though they natural women. But it's like, can y'all do a little padding? Can y'all add like some kind of feminine illusion, especially when you're doing Drag Race? Because RuPaul has a certain aesthetic that he abides by when it comes to his queens. I really do not like when I'm looking at drag queens and it's like y'all giving boy in y'all looks. And you thinking just because you wear an expensive wig on your head that's glued to the gods and your face is painted to the back row of the world's biggest arena that you giving woman. But your body is giving boy. It's like, no. It's the same thing like when I'm looking at Corey King. Corey King literally is giving me man in a dress, but thinking that she's a fierce queen. So yeah, so basically to wrap it up with Lana, they basically said she could have done more with her first look, and Michelle basically said that her final look needed some work. Laura gives her some tough advice about standing in her confidence, because yeah, she did look defeated. She had her hands folded, she was hunched over, like literally like she was trying to hide away from the stage. So it just felt like she was just really uncomfortable. So that attitude you threw, where you turning your back to the your fellow queens and stuff, and all that little attitude that you was giving, girl, come out of that. Because you giving all that on TV, it makes you look ungrateful. It makes you look like you got a stink attitude. And I know from you being in the bottom, them judges got your ass together. So I say, like, be careful. When I tell any of you, be careful what you put out here in the universe, because you just might get it. Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. Didn't the Pussycat Dolls say that when they grow up? They want to be famous. They want to be a star. They want to be in movies. I'm not going to do the whole lyrics. So, sadness, because Acacia Forgot almost ended up in the damn bottom. She got saved by the skin of her damn teeth, which I actually thought Acacia was going to be in the bottom with Mona Lisa. But apparently, Acacia got saved, which gagged everybody. And who was in the bottom was Lana and Hormona. And they lip synced to Get Him Back by Olivia Rodrigo. Now, can we talk about that lip sync? No shade, but I feel like that lip sync should have been that should have been a double sachet. That lip sync was so lackluster. I don't know if it had to do with the fact that that was the song that the song choice, or the fact that both of them were just very low energy in regards to that. But I do agree, like, get him back. As much as I like Olivia Rodrigo and I like that song and I loved watching her perform that song when I worked 3 out of 4 of her damn shows at the Garden, that wasn't the right choice for them to be lip syncing to. We needed something way more entertaining and fun and energetic. I just don't think that was a good lip sync for your life choice. Especially up against these two. I would have been like, no one to say y'all both going home. When the last time RuPaul did a double sachet? When she had what was the one they used to wear those Mrs. Roper rompers, and then they had the Asian chick? Was that the last time they did a double sachet? So yeah, so basically at the end, Ru saved Lana, sent her Mona Lisa home for real. Because remember, she got saved before when she pulled the lever, but that's all gone because of Ariete. And shout out to Ariete for winning, because after she was in the bottom last week and almost sent home, she had her big redemption. The fashion challenge saved her. She ended up winning, followed by Sam and Crystal. They were the top three. But Ariete ended up winning. So she is living her best life. She is on cloud nine. And let's see how these girls do next week when it comes down to the snatch game. And then they have Quinta Brunson as the guest judge. So yeah, that's all I have on that so far. But I also want to point out, because I was like, you know what, I thought about just doing this as a separate, but I'll add it. So shout out to Law Roach, because congratulations to him, because yeah, and that's RuPaul gagging. Because Mama Ru has added Luxury Law as a permanent judge to RuPaul's Drag Race. So yeah, it's official. After we done sat out here and was like, let's make Law, because he is so good for the show, like he's really been entertaining, let's make him a judge on the show. It's finally happened. So Laura Roach, has expressed his desire to become a permanent judge, has now had his wish granted. The celebrity stylist, best known for working with Zendaya, made his Drag Race debut during season 16 and now revealed that he has been made a permanent rotating judge, saying the following: I am not the special guest judge. I am sitting next to Rue. Hunter Schafer is the special guest judge this episode. This is what he told Parade. Now, asked how many episodes he would be appearing in, he replied, I don't know what I can say, but we all know what that third seat represents. Now, his new position means he will miss out on the backstage untucked fun, saying that when you're rotating, you don't get to do that anymore. I think it was kind of shocking for the queens to come out and see me in that third seat. It felt good to sit next to Mama Ru. So, yeah. So, now, they said the Drag Race judging panel currently consists of RuPaul and Michelle Visage, with Carson Kressley, Ross Matthews, and T.S. Madison appearing on the rotating basis alongside a weekly celebrity guest judge. Now, Kressley and Matthews joined as judges for season 7 in 2015. This is right after they got rid of Santino, with the panel remaining the same until season 15 in 2023, when they brought in T.S. Madison. Now, Roach, who was a former America's Next Top Model and legendary judge, announced in March of 2023 that he would be stepping back from the world of celebrity styling, writing on Instagram that his cup is empty. And I do feel like that this is a great choice for him. I don't know what happened to that OMG fashion show that he was doing with Julia Fox. Is that still around? Is that still coming on? I don't know if that's around anymore. But I'm actually glad that they made him a part of Drag Race, because we've been saying for the longest that we would love to see Law Roach a part of the Drag Race family. He definitely brings a lot of much needed energy to the show. He definitely brings the reads and the shade. I honestly will say that I did not understand I didn't think he was a good fit for Legendary. I mean, of course, Naomi was good for that show because Naomi is ballroom and a huge part of that culture. And I did like when they brought Keke Palmer on, and I did love when he was going back and forth with her. But when they had their little moments. But for the most part, I feel like Law is much more fitted for doing fashion stuff and much more fitted for Drag Race rather than what he was doing with Legendary. So I'm glad that the producers was actually listening to us for once and brought him on as a part of the Drag Race family. So I say all this, guys, to say to you, what did you think of this recap, as well as Law officially being added to the lineup of rotating permanent judges? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below.